Hello Akshay, how are you doing today?
Yeah, hi Akshay. Everything is good. Just enjoying my Sunday. How are you?
I'm doing good, so far so good. So how are you keeping with the COVID-19 situation there? Is everything settling?
Yeah, in Germany right now it's a little bit all right. Things are getting back on track, at least for the research work, because since last 1 month people are allowed to research in small groups.
Okay.
So everything is good, at least for me. Yes.
It's good to hear that everything is going back to normal. So as you know, that this podcast is driven for the aspirants who will be applying for masters in Germany, and this podcast will be focused on like your experience, your application process, your experience of doing your masters in Germany, and your some insights so that student can understand the process and avoid some of the mistakes that you think students should not do. So I would request you to introduce yourself to
Yes.
begin with, and then we can proceed with the further information.
Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Akshar Soni from the city of Lakes, Udaipur, Rajasthan. I am currently doing my master's in the Frederick Alexander Universitat in Erlangen, Bavaria of Germany. I study advanced processes and materials in FAU, which is an elite course supported by FAU and ENB, the Elite Networks of Bavaria. I did my bachelor's in mechanical engineering with 9.55 CGPA and surprisingly a gold medal, which I don't think I deserve. So yeah, I did a small 2 month internship at the Federal Institute of Material Testing and Research in Berlin in the year of 2017. Then that internship actually changed everything for me because I'm a mechanical grad. So in the second year of my graduation, I studied many subjects related to materials, which got me interested in that, and I secured this internship, which I was fortunate enough to have it, and that explored, like opened a whole new world of research for me. That internship changed a lot of things. So after that, I tried to get more materials related subjects in my bachelor's, and then I did my final bachelor thesis at a small startup called Manaspu Space, where I was working at a Shell Technology Center in Bangalore, which is one of the most finest technological labs or research labs that you can find in India, at least right now. Yeah, basically my profile is really precise. You cannot say that I have too many publications or anything because I have none. Yeah, so during that time only I figured out that Germany has been really generous to me, and it basically tried to make my life better. So I immediately thought that I should give it a try for a master's as well. Uh, in the month of December, around 2000, what do you say, 18. I That was my seventh semester. I started planning everything out, and yeah, I did apply for a couple of universities regarding a masters in material science or related subjects. So I did apply, and during my internship, I started getting calls and everything. Did a couple of interviews, secured my first admit, and everything was done. I basically did everything on my own. No consultancies, no fees, nothing. People will find it funny, but I just spent 2,000 rupees in all for all the applications because it was just courier sending fee. Because like when you say 950 rupees per courier, I just sent around three, or like 2,700 rupees. Really fun to see the journey because my expectations were good, but reality is greater.
As I said, the profile you're having is something which not usual, because the internships which you have done, it is not
Yes.
common in India. And the course that you currently pursuing your masters in, it is very difficult because they need specialization, at least some
Yeah, my
experience.
course has a my course has a small cap of 30 students per year only.
Right.
and around 700 to 800 people apply, and I think the percentage is less than 5. So I don't know. I was really fortunate enough to get it.
It is not always that necessary you have the publications or other stuff. If you have the relevant experience or the internships which
Yes.
highlights your understanding for that particular course, then certainly the admission committee will look into it and they'll give you the preference over others. So that is a good point. And the way you said you just invested around 3,000, 2,700 for your whole application, you did not go for any consultancy for that matter. So I want to ask you the next question about like how did you sort the universities and like how did you choose the intake itself? Because there are few universities, the course which you are interested in, they might have summer intake or the winter intake, right? So how did you
Yes.
go for that?
So basically, I did the scrutining of universities through two websites. One is the CHE ranking from DARD and this DZIAT newspaper that is here, the media production house here, and the CHE ranking, and there is a one government website called House School Campus.
Mhm.
So it basically lists all the possible courses with all the details necessary that I needed to sort it out. So, well, my personal preferences were really clear. It has to be a tuition-free course with English language related to material science, and just a good university that I can find good research opportunities.
Right.
So people when you open CHE ranking, it generally there are few parameters that are already pre-setted basically for the searching. I changed a little bit of them. That I changed to study organization, research portfolios, how much support they give towards researches and everything. When you open the website, you will find lots of them. So I arranged it to that, and then through that I found the universities, and then to respective universities, typically I found courses. The first thing I will prefer for the new students is to find course, because course is the most pioneer thing, because there is possibility that small universities are better at some particular courses than big universities. Definitely, because small universities might focus on one particular area. Like there is a university called TU Bergakademy Freiberg in the state of Lower Saxony, I think. So near Dresden, basically. So that university is like a pioneer in the field of materials, ceramics, metal, and everything. So it might seem a really small university as when you see it, because not very pompous campus, or not very large number of students there, but definitely because their number of citations, their number of research, the DFG and government has put it in has been tremendous. And so definitely the new student should find courses first with the help of House School Campus, and definitely you should check university's website of your chair, whichever you are preferring. Like for me, it was Material Science Department, so Werkstoffwissenschaften, VV department, and you just search and what are the current research they are going, how much funding they are getting, because not every university with low funding does not do well. So basically, low university low funding also do well.
Right.
So you just have to be very practical about it, because you just cannot play with the numbers.
Right.
Like if something is low, it's bad. It's not.
Right. So what you're
Yeah,
saying
so
is that
funding, yeah.
so what you're saying is that the ranking doesn't matter. You should look into course, and if that university is having
Yes.
the good research opportunities or the tie-ups or the course that university provides is really good, then you should look into the course, not into the rankings or other standards that the university has.
Yes,
Right.
definitely. Definitely.
So this should be the parameter.
So I personally prefer first thing is the course. Second thing is the research opportunities around it, because generally when you have a good cluster of research, there always more research institutes surrounding the universities. See, it's a really what do you say, quick parameter to see. Okay, they have really good institutes around it, third party institutes, not universities. But you can see collaborative research groups emerging out of small universities as well, which I personally prefer is the best thing you can have.
Right.
Yeah. So
It's obviously students should not be worried about ranking itself. If the preference of your research or the sorting should be the course, then the research possibilities that the university provides, and of course at the end what facilities apart from that you get. So now I want to ask you next question is like how many universities you had applied for, and like what was the process you did for the application? How was it for you?
yeah. So luckily, I did not apply for many universities because I needed to go to Bangalore for my internship. So all the application that I did was pre-December, like around December or a little bit more earlier. So when I was in my 7th semester, I started listing out like you just have to make a good Excel sheet with all the details of the course that you need to submit, and then you like basically arrange them according to the deadlines of applications, which will definitely help you out to keep on track and which universities yet to respond, which universities are yet to analyze your profile or anything. So yeah. So so basically I applied to FAU for my masters in MAP. I applied to TU Bergakademy Freiburg for one very special course called Advanced Materials Analysis. I did apply to 2 universities that rejected me. One is TU Darmstadt and second is Roos Bochum. They both rejected me because I was a 7th semester student, which is really odd because I didn't have degree. Yeah, basically you need to have a complete degree, but regulations I think changed over time, or it might be a special case. I don't know. There were 2 universities that I wanted to apply but couldn't apply because time constraint that I had, and it was a little late in the month of March, which is the CAU in Kiel, University of Kiel. They have really tremendous course called Kiel MAT. So yeah, basically you don't need to. People say that when you have very very low profile or like less strong profile, you have to apply to tremendous amount of universities. No, you can do a little bit of less than 10, but try to give you 100% in the application. Like just try to do it as rock solid as possible that they cannot deny you.
Right.
Yeah, because I have seen cases that people had low profile, or like say low profile as in the CGPA, but they had really good technical experience or relevant experiences and still got a really good course right away.
Right.
So for sorting an application process, just follow the website of universities. It is very clear. Try to make your each and every application very rock solid. 2 things are very important: CV and your cover letter. CV is to make your profile stand out, and cover letter is basically your justification or I would say motivation to pursue this master's and why you are the best candidate for it.
Right.
You shouldn't try to do like, I have done this, I have done that. You should take me, but it's like a conversation, a one-on-one conversation between you and university. That okay. So basically, I have done this, and why this thing is important for my candidature for your masters is this particular paragraph,
Right.
and like basically you have to pursue them you have to persuade them to have the belief in you that you can definitely finish this master with flying colors.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's
It's
correct.
the overall process.
So basically, cover
Yeah.
letter is like something you're showing your interest while applying for that course, and again you have to show that what you will be achieving from that course itself in the aim
Yes.
to benefit the
Definitely.
society or either the world
Definitely.
itself, so that it benefits the
Yes.
university itself, right? So this is something which is very important, and thank you for giving that insights to students. Now I want to ask you, like, what factor or what factor you think in your profile is very important? As you said, CV and cover letters. These two things are very important because this is something that it goes
Yeah.
ahead of your profile or other documents. Apart from that, what you think is a key point, and if that is a key point, if how you think that student can improve that thing over the period before the application.
Yes. So basically, in your profile, apart from CV and cover letter, which are like documentation of your personality, you can include couple of things like courses that you do apart from regular studies,
Mhm.
which can be technical, which can be soft, no problem.
Mhm.
Technical skills that during this time of COVID, definitely there are platforms emerging out. Yeah, they were before as well, but now they are more than better. What is it? So there are like EDX, Coursera, different good courses online that might give you an insight of the current technologies that are used in the industry, and then you can have a small beginner level or advanced level expertise in particular subjects. So it's like if you are a mechanical undergrad, you have FEM simulations. So you can do an ANSYS course, which is very essential, or say very relevant skill for your profile. So when people will select you for your masters, they will directly say, okay, he knows ANSYS, and they might ask you for your ANSYS projects or like a small portfolio kind of thing, which is really impressive for professors to see. Okay, so they are like when people say that you have to have your CV very concise because HR will fear it. So I think I will not say like one page CV is really very demanding, because I personally feel, because in the field of research, I can just say in the field of research very much, because in industry I know that the HR do have a little bit of influence over the selection procedure, but particularly in the field like when you say admissions or when you see job profile in research fields, generally HR is just to forward the application to professors or supervisor, and then you have to have a CV that gives all the details, that okay, you have worked this in particular this topic and how in depth you have worked. I will not say that 3 to 4 pages of CV, but yeah, 2 page CV is really good, with good, concise, and try to get some technical terms in it, because professor wants to see that, or professor or any admission committee or any supervisor wants to see that, okay, you have particularly worked on this technology, and the soft skills that you can work on are interpersonal or like communication skills or things that are related to management as well. You can definitely have a management related skills, organizational skills. I personally had I have a I had work experience in small initiative that is around 70 words to provide internships throughout the world. So you can so basically my work was related to providing and facilitating internships for students all over the globe. So I had an international communications background basically.
Right.
So that a little bit helped you when you see okay, this person is not just doing studies. He has been doing something else related to social work or anything. So I will say, let's try to do as much as you can, no problem at all. If you feel that this thing might be a good influence on your profile, you can put it in your CV, no problem.
Right.
But yes, courses online on websites, and yeah, your mini projects, small projects related to your field. Yeah, they are all included in your scholastic part, no problem.
Right. So basically, this would be something which comes under extracurricular activities that you do apart from your studies, so that you can showcase either you have done some things
Yeah,
extra.
you can say curricular and extracurricular both.
Right. So now I want to ask you about your course and your experience of doing your masters from FAO London, and about your something about your course, a brief about your course.
Yeah, so my course is called Advanced Materials and Processes, which is an elite course put by FAO and AMD. Basically, this course is like a intermixing of two broad fields which are not broad now. First is material science and second is chemical engineering. So basically, this course combines both of them and fuse them together, because when you study these both fields, you will see that one is dependent on other and other is dependent on one. So and my master's is like they give you four focals. Four focals include advanced processes. Second is nanotechnology and nanomaterials. Third is computational material science, and fourth is biomaterials,
Okay.
which all are the four pillars, or we can say four broad fields of materials that are used in your current life all over the world. For the first year, you have to study all. You to basically fill all the subjects. You have to study how things are, how they work. Uh, and in second semester, you choose two focals that you want to major in. So personally, I chose advanced processes and nanomaterials and nanotechnology.
Right.
So it's like an interdependent focal that I chose. That one helps the other and other helps the one. So it's basically like that. So my personal focus is towards the characterization of materials and how properties change and everything. So the MAP course is a tremendous course. I can say that because all the students coming here are really good at what they are, because we have a large pool of nationalities, around 17 countries, or more than that. I think 17 that I remember, and around 30 people from different materials background, metallurgical background, chemical engineering background, chemist. We have physics background. We have mechanical background. Yes. Yeah. So and the campus of FAO is very good. You can have lots of, like, there are lots of chairs working on different and really really interesting researches that are funded by DFG itself. So yes, you can. I think it's a tremendous university with a tremendous course that is tightly knit between all the current need of the industries, and you can definitely, we have a small initiative in MAP as well, that you can have an additional qualification that you can have in either in research, either in industry. So if you are more oriented towards research, you can have a little bit more additional qualification related to research. And if you are more interested, like, okay, I want to build my business in materials later in my life, so you can have management and business opportunities as well, which makes this gem of a course, because you are continuously evolving throughout your course. It's not a thing that, okay, it's really generic. You will like see subjects and then continuously reading throughout semester, and then it's exams and everything. But when you study them, you will see the direct implementation in the industries, because the professors directly teach them with their own research. Like, you will see, okay, we particularly with this technique we developed this, and this is currently being used by that company, or we are currently developing it with this big institute like Fraunhofer, Max Planck, Helmholtz Institute, or Leibniz University. Like, in personally FAO, we have a personal Fraunhofer, or they say, in campus, or Fraunhofer IISB, device technology, basically, and we have a Helmholtz Institute of which is doing tremendous research in energy application of batteries. So yeah, really vast fields, and the chairs have been a really like the chairs we have here are really greatly cited and would say research oriented, and yeah, it's
So
really good.
so,
That's what I'm trying
so
to
it's
say.
like it's the collaboration is to the next level, and the course
Yeah.
is basically flexible. If you want to go to management, if you want to go to research, you can certainly look into that.
Yes. Yes.
So right, I want to ask you now about about the quality of education. Like if I would say ask you to sum up in one line, and then I would ask you to give some insight about like part-time jobs and the job perspective after masters. So what is your take on these three questions?
Yeah. So quality of education is definitely, I would say, better
Mhm.
compared to some regular institutes in India.
Right.
Yes, definitely, I will say it's really good. So regarding jobs and everything, um, I will say that when you come here, you give yourself 2 to 3 months of settlement because you need to settle down a little bit, get yourself acquainted with all the university and how the procedures are and how things work here, everything. And after 2 to 3 months, you can definitely start applying towards it. Jobs, yes, you can find jobs on universities job portal. You can find there's a very tremendous website called Zing, which is like a LinkedIn for Austria, Switzerland, and Germany. So Zing is like the first go-to place for all the German companies that they want to put job applications. Like on LinkedIn, they are late. On Zing, they are really the first one.
Oh.
Yeah, so not many people know about Zing because people who are working in the German, Austrian, and Switzerland internet network do know them because they are using it for long ago. I have been personally using it for last 3 years because that's how I find my internships. That's how I find my Fraunhofer job as well. So I currently work at Fraunhofer IISB as a work student, that is research assistant in the group of silicon carbide at materials department. There I also do a characterization of silicon carbide wafers only. I work 14 hours a week, balancing between my masters and free time. So yeah, everything is really good. For jobs, I will just say one thing, that just try to apply. There's no harm in applying because most students just don't apply in the fear that they might be rejected. I will say apply with your full effort, not wholeheartedly apply with just the generic CV that you send everywhere and the generic cover letter that you send to any job application, and then you expect the job interview or anybody to directly select you. No. I will say if you are applying to one job profile, then try to see what they are asking, what is the background that they need, how you are fitting in that, and the cover letter process is the same with masters. You just need to tell them that why you are the best or you are the possible next solution for the job that is needed.
Right.
Yeah, I will not say that them, okay, yes, take me. Okay. Yes. Fortunately, I was I was lucky enough to. I did my first application in the month of January, first week, and within next week I got all you can come for a small interview because I had a characterization background from earlier internships, so it was fairly easy for me. But I wasn't expecting it to be so easy at Fraunhofer, like a premium institute, because Fraunhofer Gesellschaft is the biggest research organization in Germany, and they basically just called me and everything, and they're just like, okay, when you can start working. And it was the month of January, so I started, like I just said that I will start with March because in the month of February I had exams,
Okay.
first semester exams, and they were really good and say generous enough to give me a 1 month relaxation, and then I began in March, and in that month of February they basically did carried out all the contract work, all the legal procedures, because Fraunhofer is a government research organization. It's really good. Jobs, yes, definitely. I will say check job portals, apply to them, give your 100%, you will get it.
Right.
It's not a very big deal. Yes, people might feel like, okay, German language is a very big constraint here or anything. When you are in a university, or definitely people do expect international students. So German language is not a very big obstacle, but yeah, you might need a little bit extent, not the best, but yeah, a little bit of understanding, like just regular working, like on off or anything, like what things can happen and during an emergency, and you just need to, when you need to read emergencies and everything, like they expect you to know a little bit of German, not the best, but yeah.
So
I personally work in English. Yeah.
So what's your German understanding? Like what level you are currently on?
So when I came to Germany, I had zero because I just know my experiences in Berlin. Because that experiences taught me a lot in like German a lot. Because when you are living in Germany, in a German city for 2 months, you know most of the things that by gut feeling that what does it mean.
Right.
But just by understanding and using it on a daily basis. So that experience helped me a lot when I came to London. So I had a small scholarship from MAP, an elite network of Bavaria, for learning German. So basically my course started in October, but they called me in September to have a 1 month crash course in German. So I completed my whole A1 here. So I have an A1 proficiency with FAUs, Arkans and everything. So yeah, you can say I have a beginner's level German proficiency.
So basically, what I can say now is that German, certainly it will help you to have a daily life, in German.
Yes.
But it is not an obstacle.
Yeah. You go to markets and then you just need quick German, not very extensive, but really like just go to it.
Right. So for part-time job, German language, certainly it will help you. It will ease you to look for a part-time job. But if you don't have, don't worry. Just give your time. Apply to as many applications as possible, and certainly you will land a job. So now I want to ask you about insights or some of the inputs that you would give to any aspirants who want to do their masters from Germany in terms of having an admit as well as a good part-time opportunity as well.
Yeah, so basically your insight for getting an admit is just try to keep a track when you are applying, what you are applying, and the courses that you are applying to. Yeah, choosing your course is a conscious decision of your own. No people should influence it. Definitely you can seek guidance, but you shouldn't be influenced by it, because in the end you will be the only one who will be getting the benefit or the worst part out of that course. So choose course wisely, track your applications. When you have admit, try to find accommodation really good, really fast. Accommodations are really important. Visa procedures has to be taken care of, and you can get visa on your own, because I personally had 3 visas before coming this Germany, and all the 3 visas are my internship visas, and I have done it on my own. So you can also do it, definitely. After coming to Germany, just be very conscious about how things are here, because there are possibilities that you might be fancied by all the things that are here in Germany, because things are really different, definitely. So I will say, yeah, try to be a little bit more focused, because the first 2 months of your life here in Germany will be deciding, because you will be acquainted with the system and everything. And if you are you fit in like a cog in a machine gear, machine system, then you will be doing a tremendous job here. Give yourself 2 to 3 months, definitely settle. Yes, skills that I think people should have before coming to Germany is cleaning and cooking. Cooking is a really big part of your life, and you are the master of your own destiny.
Certainly, if you
Because
want to have.
yes, definitely. Cooking is a grand skill here. I find people that don't have that skill and suffer very much, because yes, I personally love cooking, so it has been really good for me,
Right.
because I have been eating all the kinds that I want, and yeah, you can definitely have a really good time here. So, and for jobs, yes, be straightforward, be very precise towards your job applications, be very professional, definitely, because Germans are a little bit professional towards at least the job part, and they are really focused towards rules and regulations that you follow, because they do follow them religiously. So yes, yeah, it's your choice. You can definitely make most out of it, because if anybody like me can make out of it, you can definitely, because I can definitely say that whosoever is watching is better than me.
That's very generous of you, Mutsal. About like the consultancy and your take, like your last word on the part-time jobs, or rather your experience in part-time jobs, like how you doing. That's it. Summarize, and then we'll end the podcast. That's it. So two questions which are
Okay,
pending.
great. So my take on consultancies and agents and everything is, please don't take them. Basically, you are capable enough to do everything on your own. Internet has everything on it. Several websites, several people are there to help you out online. We have lots of communities online that people like Akshay and me are there for help,
Right.
definitely. Yeah, and my take on part-time jobs, yes, part-time jobs are important, at least when you are a student, as a master student, at least, because they do provide you financial stability while you are studying. Plus, if you are doing a technical part-time job, that will enhance your CV more, because having a prestigious name of a company in your CV right away when you are studying masters is great.
Right.
So that's my view on everything.
Right.
So if anybody is interested in doing masters in Germany or any European country or any country, just try to be a more practical approach, like how things will be, how this thing will affect your future in a better way, because you are investing a lot of time and money, because time and money are the two things that human thrive on, and yeah, it involves more than you. It involves your family as well. So just make a conscious choice, and everything will be all right.
Right. So the reason I ask you these two questions is because the consultancy is something which these students always get enticed about, and this is something that they feel that if you go to consultancy, we may be able to secure an admit in this particular university because they understand way better than us. But this is not a picture, as you said. Everything is on internet. You don't need to go anywhere. Every information which consultancy has, you can have as well, because the only thing that you need to do is research, so that will be easy for you to do. And the second thing is something which I feel that we can do is that about the part-time job. So the reason I ask you about the part-time job is because that, as we discussed earlier as well, the financial stability and all, so it opens a door for your financial stability. And staying here,
Definitely. And
staying.
it's like when you have financial stability a little bit more, you focus more on studies because you don't have to worry for
Right,
lots of things.
right. So
It's like yeah, it's like a perpetual motion thing.
right,
One thing triggers the other, and everything goes in hand in hand.
right, hand in hand. So it's something which will leave you stress free at the end of your masters, because you will be lay off of the education loan that you took in the beginning of your masters.
Definitely.
So that was the thing that I was trying to convey to the aspirants, because it is obvious that people who have, or students who have stability, or the aspirants who have the stability, they will not be worried about things. But people who don't, like, or the students who don't have, they will be worried about the first question which will come in their head: how will I manage the financial stuff and all? So what is my take, and I would request your take as well, is that you should not be worried about financial stability. First, secure an admit in any German university,
Definitely.
and then think about financial stability. The first task is
Definitely.
secure an admit in public.
Yeah, basically, don't forget your first motive.
Mhm.
That is studies.
Right,
You are here for a master's or bachelor's or whatever, but you are here for studies. Financial stability is to help you with the studies,
right,
not become a part of it.
right,
So just try to have things in motion. Admit, like first the application, then admit, then accommodation and your arrival and everything, visa process and everything. Settle it a little bit down, and then you have to have a job or everything
yes.
related. Yeah,
Because if you have an admit, and if it's an admit from public university where you don't have to pay any tuition fee, so what you need to take care of is your living expenses. And as I can sum up,
yeah,
what
definitely.
what you need is 10,000 euros. So 10,000 euros, if I get a rough conversation, including your flight expenses and everything, so I would say 12 lakh to 13 lakh is what you need in the beginning itself. So 12 to 13 lakh, you can certainly get a loan without mortgage itself if you present a
Yes.
solid application. And
Yes.
so if you get a loan without mortgage, then what you need to do is take a loan, go to Germany, be diligent, be hardworking, and do your study diligently, invest your time in right thing, and get a part-time job so that you can earn that money in that period, and certainly you can sustain your life for next year at least, right? And then
Yeah,
you can
completely
certainly,
agree with you.
yeah. So this is a bit practical approach, I would say, and this is what I'm trying to
Definitely.
convey. So what do you think? Is it right, as you being in
Yeah,
Language?
100% correct. It's 100% correct. I agree with you 100%. The said about having things in order and like little bit more, like less mortgage and everything. I personally took loan and then without mortgage, which is really good.
Right.
And yeah, I've been trying to sum up as much as possible and to finish it as soon as possible. It is possible and it is doable. I can assure you that.
Yeah, this is what I think that students should look into, and this is something which will certainly make them positive. Uh,
Yeah.
Going towards the application directly. Don't worry about the financial stuff right away. Prepare your application, invest your time on SOPs, LORs, make proper cover letter and CV, and then certainly have an admit. Once you have an admit, then figure out about the financial things. That way, you'll be in a process.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So I certainly think the insights which we till now talk about, and the things which you put on, it certainly will give a really good understanding to the aspirants, and I think it will be a positive boost for them to do their application and make it in a progressive way.
Yeah, I also hope the same, and you are doing an amazing work for the students and aspirants that are hoping to get a better future. So all the best to you as well, and I look forward to all the videos.
Yes,
on your channel.
certainly. I'll see you soon, because I hope to travel soon to Germany. I'll meet you
Oh
in person.
damn! Yes, we can definitely have a great trip
Cer-
somewhere around. That's great.
Certainly, we'll have one trip, and I'll hope to
Yeah,
see you soon. Thank you so much, Akshay,
Yeah.
for giving your time and giving your insights and helpful experience to the students, so that they will certainly have a clarification over the masters in Germany.
No problem at all. It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much, bro.
Thank you for having me here as well. And all the best to you.
Thank you.
And all the students who are watching this, do check his channel and try to understand what he's trying to convey. He's doing a phenomenal job. Everything is good, and I think I will say goodbye to all.